So how do I create a filter in Central Register? So once you have the Central Register application open, you go to the last widget in the widget banner up the top here, which is the CR filter widget. Right now for the profile I have active, I don't have any filters at all selected, so I'm going to go through creating a new filter from scratch with you now. The first thing that we want to do is define a where. So we've broken the filter down into some pretty simple parameters, so the where, when, who, and what. You should just make your way down these sections as you go and fill in what's appropriate to you. So I'm going to create a filter for the City of London. I am going to make sure it's on the TLRN. That's what I'm interested in. There is also the capability of using areas of interest and networks of interest, which are user-defined areas. I will go into this at a later date. So be sure to check the how do I navigate areas of interest and networks of interest, or AOI and NOI, which is going to be one of our FAQs. So once I've defined my where, i.e. the borough, City of London, and my road network, so the TLRN, I can then go to the when function. So in this area, you have two options, and it's either or. You can't have both at the same time. So if you select a relative date, what that means is today plus some days. So if I say tomorrow, what it's going to look at, the system is going to say, what is the date today? What is the date tomorrow? Pull up all the information that falls within the other parameters of this filter that occur tomorrow. Similarly for next week, the next 2 weeks, the next month, and the next 3 months. So if you select this, that's what it's going to pull up every single time. The other feature that you have that you can filter by is the absolute date, and that just means between two discrete points. So what I'm going to do is go back, and I'm going to use the absolute date because we are using some test data at the moment. So I'm just going to select 2 months worth of information here from January 2016 to the end of Feb and hit apply. So that's saved the date range on my when feature. Now in the who, I'm probably going to leave this blank just so that we get as many results back as possible, but this is all of our promoter organizations. So basically anyone that has authority to be able to conduct roadworks will be in this list, and you can filter for one of them or multiple very simply and easily. But I'm going to, for the sake of this particular filter, I'm going to leave this blank. The next section is the what. So if you tick one of these areas, so I'm going to tick permits, and within permits you can then open up this layer and it gives you more information again. So you can select the works category, status, the permit status, and some carriageway restriction information as well. Again, just for the sake of this filter so that I can get the most results back, I'm going to leave all of this blank. I can do the same for T-Man though. So if I check T-Man and open it up, there's some more information I can filter by here also. I'm also going to leave that blank though. So first off, I'm going to apply my filter. What it will do is, this is the loading screen obviously, so once that's done it will give you some results, and it says based upon your results you have got 177 permits, 6 T-Mans in the area within the date range that you've selected. So I can close all that. You'll note that it's also snapped me to the location, so you can see all of these permits. Now what it will do is, if you select an area that is too large to be displayed at the maximum extent, i.e. zoomed out really far, rather than showing the green and red symbols and the correct legend information, what it's going to do is turn it blue and create an image over the top of this. And that's just so that if you are creating really large filters and they're going, you know, all the way from the northwest to the southeast, say, and you're going to get this as your extent, what it will do is let you go zoom all the way out here, still show you where your results are, but it's going to color them blue. And the reason for that is just so that we can load them quicker, so you get more performance out of your filter. But you can easily click on any one of those images and just hit zoom to, and it's going to zoom you right into the location of that particular permit or work or T-Man, so you can see the information there. So that's my first filter. I've run that filter, but say that I want a little bit more information out of this. Say it's not just the TLRN I'm interested in, say I'm also interested in the SRN, and also I want to look at Westminster. So I've increased my filter where location by adding a second borough, and I've also added a road network. You can do this with any of the other things as well, so it saves your current parameter for the filter you're currently running. It won't save it every single time unless you hit the save function and then give it a name, but I'll do that in a moment for you. So I'm just going to hit apply again, and it's just going to rerun that filter. So it says here that I've gotten a lot of permit results back, so I've gotten over 1,000. So what I should do is try to reduce that filter a bit. Let's just keep it on the TLRM. There we go. So now I've got 603 permit results and 11 T-mans. And as you can see, it snapped me out to a location where I can see all of them at once. So they all come up with the blue feature here. What I can do is, again, I can zoom in on them. And I have all the information I want about that works record right there. What I want to do next, though, is this filter is something that I, as a user, want to run frequently. Say that this is the default view that I want every single time I log into the Central Register application. What I would do is I would save the filter, give it a name, and I would set it as default. So I've checked it on there, checked it off, and hit OK. Now I get the feedback saying that my filter has been saved successfully. So now, I go in here, I'm going to go to manage my filters. So now this is my default filter, and that means that if I close this Central Register application, and I open it up again, oh my god, my thing's dying. I have to cut out 7 minutes to 7:10. Turns out 7 minutes to 7:10. Okay. So if I open Central Register again, what it's going to do is it's going to remember that I saved a filter as my default filter, and it's just going to run that for you the second that you open Central Register. So it's applying the filter right now. It's pulled the results and all the queries that you had. It's gotten back all the T-man and permit results. So this means that every single time you log into Central Register and use the application, if you have a default filter set, you're going to get the most updated information. So as an example, if you were to set that when parameter rather than to the static dates I have, if you were to select that to say the next week, it means that every single time you log in, you know what's happening in your area in the next week on the TLRM. So it just saves a lot of time for each user, basically. So say that this filter is also something that someone in your team says, actually, that's really, really good. How can I get a hold of that? Well, we've also created a facility of very easily being able to share this with different users. So what you would do is you would go to the test filter here. And this is, sorry, I'm going to pause this here. I don't have anyone to share it with.
Any test profile?
It worked. Okay. So I'm just going to quickly redo that now. So I'm just going to refresh this. So again, this needs to be from like 8 minutes 40 to 9 minutes we need to cut. So we've given you a very simple and easy way of sharing that filter with someone in your team, or maybe even an external promoter who would be interested in your filter. So the way we would do this, and this is just going to be via email address, so this is on our development environment, so I'm just going to use one of our developers' emails. I'm going to add him. So now his name appears here. If you have a list of users, it would just add them all underneath that, so you get a long list. Once you've added the user, that means that they've been authenticated. We understand that they are a user of the system, and then we can share it with them. So now it's saying it's been shared with that user, and he can now see that. You'll also be able to click on this, and you'll be able to see you can be able to see the users that it's shared with, and then you'll be able to either remove them or add more users to share it with as well. say that these results are also something that you're interested in doing some reporting on. So once you've got your filter results here, what you can do is you can export them to CSV. So this is the export results section here. So what I'll do is I'll click on that. Now, at the moment, the way that it's been built is this is the only section of the system that has pop-ups, unfortunately. This might still have the bug in it. I think this hasn't been fixed yet, so I can't do this FAQ yet, I don't think. It should just download. Yeah, no, there's a defect there. So that we already know that there's a defect there. So when it gets to the export results, we need to cut that too. I'm actually just going to cut this here.